Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneur's Wealth Channel, the information channel dedicated to entrepreneurs, successful and aspiring people. Remember that immersing yourself in the right training and practicing the right action is the key to your success. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on upcoming valuable content. Today I want to share the biggest problem with pornography. There is a problem with pornography that is often not discussed primarily among males. It should be obvious, like things like that porn reflecting negatively on actual sexual romantic interactions is a serious problem because it increases dopamine by twofold. They then double baseline dopamine levels. What dopamine does is color one's experience of an activity to make it more enjoyable. To make it one you want more of, get something that causes a big dopamine surge. After that, the baseline should collapse because there isn't as much dopamine to maintain the baseline. Luckily, most people don't have massive dopamine surges, resulting in sudden crashes. Unfortunately, other people have them, and it's what we call addiction when you're using drugs or anything like that, either a really big sudden surge in dopamine, resulting in a crash below the minimum line, because literally all the dopamine has been used up. Then people feel confused and many make the mistake of chasing the rise and release of dopamine again, mistakenly thinking that this will lead to a rise in the baseline, causing a new peak. Not only do they not have a new peak, but their baseline goes down further and further as they consume more and more dopamine. We've seen this so many times when people get addicted after that they don't feel any pleasure at all. We see this happening with video games as well. It's a new video game and you start playing it all the time. Then two things can happen, and usually both happen. The first is that it is associated with dopamine exclusively in that video game, and soon you lose interest in other things, such as school, relationships, sports, well-being, and what then usually happens, that you lose the release of dopamine even in that activity itself. And what happens is that you fall into a depression that can be very serious. The brain is a learning machine. If the brain is taught to get turned on by watching other people having sex, it doesn't necessarily take stimulation to get aroused, even when you have to have sex with another person, or it could create challenges in sexual relationships with other partners. I don't want to judge whether pornography as a stimulus is good or not, but for its availability and strength. It is a very strong stimulus, and like all very strong stimuli of any kind, it puts a cap on dopamine releases. The higher the peak, the greater the dopamine drop. Not only does the baseline fall, but the lowest level also falls. These things again are not good or bad, but you have to know how to handle them. Because if a person is chasing dopamine but cannot get it from an activity, it means that he has done it too many times. It should be obvious how pornography, thanks not only to its prevalence but also to its intensity, can negatively shape relationships, real, both romantic and sexual. There is an ongoing discussion that goes beyond the judgment of whether pornography is liked or not. This is an ethical question. It is a moral question that must be discussed by every individual and for every age. Like any activity that causes a large release of dopamine, it will make it more difficult to get the same and even higher levels of dopamine in a subsequent interaction. It is true that many people are addicted to pornography and many people have problems interacting in the real world. Now you know the mechanics behind this. Thanks for watching.